Antonio Conte, for one, believes English football should be adopting the European model of boardroom executives having to face the media to discuss club strategy. Has he got a point here? I think he has. He cited Fabio Paratici, who is Spurs managing director of football. When he was in Italy with Conte, he would speak every week whilst at Juventus, alongside the manager then, who was Antonio Conte. So Conte was asked this straight yesterday. It was asked, look, you said you don't want to repeat yourself about the bigger concept of the club and the strategy of Tottenham. So would it help if the ownership, if the chairman, say, spoke more publicly about the club's strategy, rather than you lot having to speak every week?
In England, I think there is a bad habit that there is only the coach to speak and to explain. I have never seen the medical department to come here to explain why this player is having a difficulty to recover. It's the same also, I never seen the club or sporting director to come here and to explain the strategy, the vision of the club. It's in England, because in Italy, for example, in Italy, every game, before the game, there is a person of the club that go with the media and then has to answer many questions. I think that for us could be really, really better, because otherwise, we put every time our face on. There is only one face to explain other situation that I think maybe is better also the club to come here to explain. I think that is good, but this is a habit, and I respect this habit. If you speak only the coach, sometimes there are the misunderstanding, and instead I think that could be good to have the club to be present in the media and to speak, not every week, but at least every 15 days.
I think he's got a point, Simon, has he not? Especially the last part. Look, not every week, but say once a month. Trot out somebody from the board who knows about spending or knows about other matters pertaining to the football club, not exactly team matters for which the manager's responsible, and put him in the firing line so that he can answer some questions, so that he can be answerable, so that he can be accountable on behalf of the club.
Yes, I think there's some merit in it. I don't see any problem with it, because I would have always been wanted to be and was a communicative owner, so it wasn't a problem for me. The irony of it is, can you roll your mind back to imagine Alex Ferguson wanting anyone else to speak on behalf of Manchester United than himself?
Well, he just wouldn't have that.
He wouldn't have had it, right? Antonio Conte, let's be clear. Italian football clubs isn't the blueprint for how they should operate. Go and ask these people that are running some of these football clubs, like Allegri at Juventus. Is it Juventus, isn't he?
Well, look at what happened at Juventus recently. All the directors resigning
and all that sort of nonsense. Look, there is a point where you get football managers in front of, like when the media were asking Pep Guardiola about the financial fair play situation. He can't answer those questions. It's unfair for him to be asked or answered. So there is an element of it. There's also then the consistency of message, because and I know, keeping these football managers on point and keeping them aligned is a very difficult job, because you'll go out there as a director and you'll say it as it is, and the football manager, because they do what they want, will go out and contradict you. Be wonderful for the media, because the media will love it and they'll see the division. But I do actually think there is merit in football club, people inside the football club having a relationship, communicating with the media. A lot of the owners won't want to do it, and I have to say, if it isn't an owner, there's an element of very little merit in it. A sporting director, yes, is useful, because ultimately you're going to get a different take on it. But if a sporting director, you're probably going to get from a sporting director very similar to what you're going to get from the manager. You're not going to learn very much more than you'll do from the manager. But what Conte's doing, he's not suggesting it for positive reasons. He's whining about the fact that he's working for a football club that he doesn't think is currently matching his expectations. So he's shifting it by
I don't think he's whining. I think he's being constructive.
I don't think he's being constructive. I don't think he's being constructive.
You just said you think it's a good idea.
No, I don't think Conte's motivations are steeped in it being a good idea. I think Conte is being facetious about the fact that he's being asked questions that he doesn't really want to answer, because what he wants to say
Or doesn't know the answers to.
I think he knows full well the answers, that he can't have exactly what he wants when he wants it. He can't match the spend pound for pound of Chelsea. He can't match the spend of Manchester United. So Tottenham are always going to be in a situation where there's going to be this argument about what Conte wants and what Conte gets.
Yeah, but Simon, you
think
see
a lot
the
of
way
this-
we operate in here, Danny. I mean, as I did at Sky, you push the people behind the scenes to see if they'll come to air with you.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's Tottenham, I may as well give the example. And he had every right to say no. We were trying to get Daniel Levy to join us on air here at talkSPORT on a particular occasion, and I was told he doesn't, quote, feel any need to do a State of the Nation to talkSPORT at this time.
Depends on the club, depends on
And
the
you're
individual.
shut down.
And I agree.
Depends on the club, depends on the individual who owns the club and what he likes to do, what he's good at. That's where delegation's good. You put the right people in charge. Look, my initial feeling, and the stronger feeling I have on this, is that when you're manager of a Premier League club and you're paid between £5 and £15 million a year, you're supposed to be a leader. And that means good communication skills and the ability to transfer information, even if it's not your speciality. So I don't want to see some sports science guy, guy, the head of Chelsea, come on camera and tell us what he's been doing to get the fitness levels of the lads up. I want to hear the manager tell me what he thinks the players are at, why they aren't fit enough, why he doing
I get that, but here's a case in point.
Being owner and manager.
Would you not
finish?
like, before the deadline comes along on January 31, to hear from Newcastle United chairman Yasser Al-Rumayyan?
No,
I would.
But some people would. But the thing I would say...
As an owner?
Maybe the fans
You'd want to...
I wouldn't personally, it doesn't bother me.
You'd want to hear from an owner.
The reflection of the owners on the team and the manager.
You'd want to hear from the two most influential people in a football club are the owner and the manager.
The fans might.
And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the media communicating.
The media ain't the fans.
Well, the media are a conduit to the fans.
Yeah.
So we're talking about what the media content delivers to the end user, being the fan, right?
Exactly.
So what we're saying here is the two most influential... You can get a sporting director out and he can have a chat about the policies of what they're doing.
Yeah.
And after about two of these, everyone will go, it's a yawn fest, don't want it anymore. But what they want to hear is they want to hear from the owner and his vision and his view. And, of course, the owner won't want to be there because he might be asked slightly thorny questions about what his view on the manager is. But if he's got anything about him, he can handle those situations. So there is a space and a place for senior people that have the ability to be able to communicate with the media, occupying some space. So I agree with Conte's sentiment. His motivation is what I'm questioning. I think his motivation is he's being a bit facetious and being a bit clever about the football club he's working for.
I agree, but the only thing I'd say with that, and I get why if a new owner comes in, or and they want to hear from him and his ambition and get a feeling of his love for the club or lack of it. I do think though, if you're putting millions of pounds into a football club and you're paying the wages of everybody and you're funding transfers and you're especially when you're putting everything you've got into a club, I think it's fair enough if it's not your area of confidence or expertise to say, actually, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to deal with that. I put my money where my mouth. I'm doing the best I can. I don't want to get involved in the media side. Not everybody's like you, Simon.
And I agree with that too. And also, of course, if it's not your mother tongue, it's not your first language, you're going to find yourself in a slightly invidious position. But that's the task you take on when you own a football club.
Correct.
It's no good Fahid Mashiri coming down on pre-records talking to Jim. Fahid Mashiri should be talking to the media from a structured point of view about the holics he's made of that football club and how he's going to fix it. That would be leadership.
Would he need to if they were sitting in 8th having a good season?
Possibly not. He'd be telling you about the blueprint he's got to go to 6th. Or 4th, or how he sees the manager's development, or what the plans are, or how the stadium's going to be built, and what his ideal aspirational outlook is. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a space, and when the media go, that's actually not very interesting, they don't like to do it anymore. Or if they do find it interesting, then people like Antonio Conte can stop their sort of facetious observation about him having to carry this heavy load of asking a few bleeding questions from the media. I tell you what, I'd ask the questions dawn till dusk for £15 million a year, and I bet you would too.
Well, that's why my point at the top, what I said. If you're a leader,
it's whining.
Be a leader.
It's whining. Get on with it.
Be a leader. Answer any question that comes.
But it is, Jim, isn't it? It's a little bit. Come on. It's lightweight stuff, isn't it? Oh, pull on me. I've got to answer a few questions.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.